Most leaders that I've worked with tend to think that execution breaks at effort, and it doesn't really work that way. Execution has a tendency to break at layer two. We'll talk a little bit about what layer two is. Layer one is always about alignment, and that's where strategy gets discussed, gets debated, and it gets agreed on. Most senior teams are actually pretty good at it. The problem is what really happens next. More accurately, what doesn't happen next. Layer two is translation. So that strategy gets debated and gets agreed on. But the next layer down is where strategy has to be clear, and decision authority and accountability at that next layer in the organization has to be defined and documented, and there has to be an agreement there. If that translation isn't agreed upon, isn't engineered deliberately, and the time isn't taken to do that inside of the body of your organization, hesitation is going to become rational. It's going to become something that people do. From the leadership table, where you're looking for outcomes and things to occur because you thought we were all in agreement, hesitation is going to look like pushback. It's going to look like resistance. It's also going to look and feel like a lack of urgency. Motivation tends to be the word that I hear. Or it's going to look like poor follow through is going on. So as a leader, what your temptation is going to be is you're going to step in and you're going to want to stack more things. You're going to increase oversight. You're going to add meetings to your calendar. You're going to increase check-ins. You're going to re-evaluate the KPIs, and you're going to pull everybody back in the meetings for the sake of having meetings. What that means is that your urgency can't compensate, can't correct ambiguity. I'll say that again. Your urgency as the leader, because you've stacked all of those things in, can't compensate for ambiguity. If the decision rights for that alignment weren't explicitly defined at that next layer, the layer down, accountability has become a pressure without leverage. You're going to lose leverage, and pressure without leverage diffuses momentum. So here's a governing principle for you. Execution fails when strategy isn't structurally translated into clear decision authority below the leadership table. Everybody's at the table and they step down. Say it one more time. Execution fails when strategy isn't structurally translated into clear decision authority below the leadership table. Your alignment's going to feel productive. Translation is going to be decisive. And if your team agrees with the strategy, but movement feel thins, don't assume commitment is the issue. Ask a different question. Does the next layer know exactly what they own? Do they know what they can decide without escalation? And is accountability visible where the work actually happens? Because the work doesn't generally happen at your layer as the leader. Execution doesn't usually fail loudly. It diffuses quietly. Execution always diffuses quietly. And when it diffuses, leadership weight concentrates upward. It gets heavier on you as the leader. So if all this is familiar to you, the solution isn't more accountability. It's engineered clarity. Remember, execution breaks at layer two. Layer two is that layer right below the table where you made the decision, where you have to make sure that the decision capability, clarity, boundaries, bumper rails are clear. I'm Dolan White. If you have questions about how to do this, reach out. I'm happy to have a conversation with you and help you implement these things within the body of your organization. Have a great week.